Hello, I'm here with Ras Iyah V. Ras Iyah V. How did you get that name?
Well, I got the name because I was called VV, which is my registered name, Viral Vassal. So the V has stuck with me when I started and became Rastafari. It was V-Man, V-I. And then Rastafari Virgin came to where I was. And the fact that I was extremely Ital, not using certain type of product, the brother said to her, "You not V-Man, you're a higher V." Higher mean H-I-G-H-E-R. But then I started spelling it I-Y-A-H, Iyah, which happened just that after that time I found out that the Yah really is the shortened name in Hebrew for Yahweh. So I continue spelling the name I-Y-A-H.
Now
so,
you're Rastafarian.
Yes, I am.
What does that mean, that you are Rastafarian?
To a Rastafari is somebody who sees who sees Haile Selassie as the returned Messiah. Two, who sees Africa as the cradle of mankind, the cradle of civilization, and the homeland of our ancestors. Three, we believe in the equality of all people, whether you're black, you're white, you're pink, you're yellow, whoever you are. And we believe that we ought to live as close to nature as possible, because the very moment you try to live against nature, then to me it will result in your own detriment. So basically, that's why I'm a Rastafari.
And Ital, what does Ital mean?
Ital is really the I form. In Rastafari, we create our own vocabulary, so to speak. So for example, in vital, we'll take out the V and say Ital. In unity, U-N-I-T-Y, we'll take out the U and say Inity. But Ital is really a way of life, for example, in our eating, without using any form of chemicals. For example, salt, sugar, and those things. We eat our food how nature provides it. So that's basically what is being Ital.
Do you cook your food?
No, I don't. I eat live food. Raw food, uncooked food. And I've been living this for the past 42 years.
And this is a form of purity?
When I look at it, that before fire, how did man live? How did man eat? For example, where I'm from, in Jamaica, we have a lot of fruits, we have a lot of vegetables. So I just look at it and know that even in term Eden, from an Edenic point of view, that is how people used to live naturally. Just eat how nature provides it, because there was no fire. Yet
Adam and Eve didn't have a stove.
No, they didn't. I don't think fire was invented at the time either. So I just look back at life that way, but I did science in school, chemistry, physics, and biology. And I remember being taught in chemistry that heat above 60 degrees centigrade would destroy your enzymes. Water boils at 100 degrees centigrade, so long before your water is boiled, your enzymes are gone. When your enzymes are gone out of your food, then the whole metabolic process, the digestive process, tend to become more difficult. So that's why I choose not to eat cooked food.
Now, you are the leader of the Westmoreland Hemp and Ganja Farmers Association.
Right.
First off, Westmoreland. What's Westmoreland?
Westmoreland is the most westerly parish in Jamaica. Jamaica has 14 parishes, and Westmoreland is the most westerly parish.
And hemp and ganja, that's marijuana.
Right, it is.
And Westmoreland has traditionally been a place where ganja has been grown.
And not only ganja, but the best ganja in Jamaica.
So you represent the farmers who have grown the ganja in Westmoreland.
Right, I do.
And what is their interest now as Jamaica looks forward towards decriminalization, legalization, becoming a figure, a player, a contender in a global legalized environment?
Naturally, as grassroots farmers, because those are the farmers that I represent, grassroots farmers, And in general, it is grassroots people who is known throughout Jamaica to be cultivating marijuana as an alternative, as a way of life, because a lot of youth coming out of high schools, even universities, have no jobs. So they have to find something to turn to. And maybe I wouldn't say lucrative, but one of the most economical venture that they could go into is the cultivation of marijuana, ganja, cannabis. Now, in the whole attempt to legalize, because we knew that the legalization process or the decriminalization process would come about, but we also know that there is a possibility for these small farmers to be pushed out of the market by big multinational corporation and rich people coming in, knowing that there's the possibility of a large amount of money to be made. So we figure more or less that in order to protect the individuals who have borne the persecution, who have gone to jail, gotten the button licks, in order to keep this industry alive, we would have to organize ourselves into a body, into an entity that we figure more or less would be able to speak on our behalf and as such protect our interests.
So there's a unity of interest in some degree between the farmers of Westmoreland and the Rastafari. Are all the farmers of Westmoreland Rastafari?
No, the majority of the farmers are non-Rastafari, but they are grassroots people. But I as Rastafari, those who have been at the forefront, because we use herb, you have some people who use herb, but are not brave enough to come out and say, yes, we do use herb, or we plant herb. Rastafari people are people who don't deny using herb. We are brave enough, we are strong enough to say we do use herb. And from the inception of the movement in the 1920s into the 1930s, we, declare that marijuana, ganja, cannabis is a part of our way of life. It is our sacrament, similar to how the Catholic or the Anglican would use bread and wine in their church. But the fact that as grassroots people, Rastafari and traditional ganja farmers, we basically, most Rastafari come from grassroots background. So it was easy for us to come into one, to unite into an organization, because we have basically similar experience coming up as youths.
Tell us the story of Rastafari with marijuana, ganja, as its sacrament. How did this evolve?
When the movement started out, Haile Selassie was crowned King of Kings in Amrit, Negus and Agas in 1930, but the movement started before the coronation in the 1920s. Now, herb has been used traditionally by our people for years upon years upon years, long before even the Rastafari movement came into being. The average poor black, the average poor Indian have been known to use herb. But what is noticeable about herb is that most of these people who use herb tend to be community-minded. You would find these people getting together, burning herb, and then certain type of discussion, certain type of reasoning would emerge. So when the Rastafari, most of who came even in the 20s to say Rastafari was traditional church people, but people who used to use herb. So again, in the 1930s, when the movement evolved after the coronation of Haile Selassie, it was these same people who were traditional churchgoers and traditional herbivores coming into the fore. So basically, they just declare herb as a natural plant to be their sacrament. Now, the Rastafari movement is an anti-colonial movement, because at the time when the movement came about, we had a series of individuals who rose up against the system, the European British colonial system. If you look back into our history, you will see different rebellion, different uprisings, going back as far as the Maroons. You had the Taki uprising, you had the Sam Sharp uprising in 1831, you had the Paul Bogle in 1865, you had Marcus Garvey movement, the UNIA. So in continuation of that rebellion and of that black acknowledgement, the Rastafari came following on the heels of Marcus Garvey, still defending our black self and at the same time striving and fighting for our liberation. The difference with the Rastafari movement and other uprising is that we did not come violently. We came on the basis that we were trying to get back, and we are still trying to get back, the minds of our people to be what we were, and for them to think of themselves as not being inferior people, but as people who have made vital contribution to world civilization.
And if you had to put it in a sentence, what is the message of Rastafari going out?
The message of Rastafari is basically peace and love amongst all people, but at the same time, we are the fact that peace can only come when there is justice. So if there is no justice, like even Peter Todd said, we don't want no peace, we want equal rights and justice. But to me, the only way of guaranteeing international peace is to have international justice.